Hey Sagittarius, this is your general tarot reading for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Ascendant or Rising sign for the month of September. Sagittarius, let's do as we always do. We'll wait on all the right cards to come out just for you. And let's talk about these energies that you may feel throughout the month of September. And you know, before I actually do that, I wanted to say that I had my mind on you, thinking about you before I started the video. And I then reached to pick up the cards, and the cards were hot. Now, that has never happened to me before. They were like, you know, your mobile phone or some device when it's kind of hot. Picked it up, they were hot. So let's see what hot things the cards want to say to you this month. So Sagittarius, let's do as we always do. We open up with the influence of the full moon that happened at the end of August, and it still filters into a little bit of September. And it was a Piscean full moon for you in the 4th house. So a lot of you could have been spending time at home, doing stuff from home, maybe meeting up with your family, spending time with family members, or just taking care of stuff at home, needing to close the door, needing to have a bit of a break, a bit of a relax perhaps, to recharge with good food, good wine, yes, good cooking, good music, good watching your favourite TV shows. I'm feeling very heart connected again, very heart connected to your roots again somehow. That's why I said some of you could have been going back to your hometown, back to your roots, back to your family, because there is that element of having spent time touching base with the real important things in your life, who you are, what you feel about the things in your life. There may have been, just as I was saying, that because it's the Piscean moon in the 4th house, that there could be an element of you seeing something also within your family dynamic, within your family life. That yes, certainly while it gives you that feeling of touching base with home, it also maybe makes you a little bit sad somehow. Maybe for one reason or another, you might just got very emotional at how you miss home, or very emotional about maybe how some of you have grown a little bit far apart from people that you once cared about within your family. So there was just some highly emotional period there to do with home, family, and also to do with care. Caring for people, caring for things, seeing what you care for now, kind of thing. 4th house is where we take care of vulnerable people, elderly people, people who have some disability perhaps. And it just might, for some of you, mark a period where you've given the care that you can, and now it might be time to just pull back a little bit and perhaps let other forms of support come in there to take your place in some way, okay? Because your energy now is all geared up towards getting out there, getting out of that lovely home, safe, secure environment where everything is all comfortable and cozy, and bringing yourself back out into the world. Yeah, come out of hiding, baby. Come out of your safe space. Come out wherever you are and get back out into the big world, because the 10th house is where we stand out, where we're seen, where other people have the opportunity to applaud us, to reward us, and to see us as respectable and responsible people, where we're in charge of our lives somehow. A lot of the times we say that's to do with your career, because very often that's how it's played out, but not always. So there is this moment this month where you are really pushing, baby. You're pushing to get out there and make a good name for yourself, to build your reputation, to have, again, it's this sense of being more in control of your life, having more dominance in your life, taking everything you're doing, your work, your career, your family situation, your house situation, the 4 walls you're in, and pushing that out there a little bit. You want some sort of recognition for the work that you've been doing, and I think this is the month where you get that success. Finally, finally you get noticed, you get that success. Maybe that's why the cards were hot. Maybe, I don't know. So if there has been a project that you've been working on, perhaps at home, you get to see people really, wow, there's almost like so many different strands here happening that I go down one strand and then there's another one coming. So it's like my focus is moving a little bit here with you, Sagittarius. So let me just grab onto one strand here. I'm doubling back here because for some of you there may have been a very emotional period for you recently where you got to share some very deep truths, hidden truths, deep feelings about something that you've probably always tried to hide or keep to yourself or keep private. And you had an opportunity maybe to talk about some of those inner fears, inner worries, inner deep emotions. And it seems because you've done this, success is granted to you. So there's something very successful happening when you share something very deep, which seems to have been what was triggered towards the end. Yeah, look at this, the High Priestess. Something very, very deep, something very emotional, something that you care a lot about came to the surface. And because it's kind of being dealt with, you enter into September being really rewarded for that. Yeah, you've purged something, you've purged a fear, you've gone deep into your feelings, and now you're ready to come back out again, clearer, with more power, and with more determination to push yourself out in some way. So that's very, very nice. But yet I feel so many different strands. Yours is a very unusual reading, I have to say, Sagittarius. First with the hot cards, now feeling that there are many, many, many strands. Are you feeling that, Sagittarius, that you're in a period where there's not just one arena of focus, but there seem to be lots and lots and lots of strands where you're looking at all corners of your life, your past, your future, your present, your emotions, your career, standing out there, and yet also where you are at home. So it's like a multitude of questions. You're really asking the big, deep questions. But it's probably because of that now you're kind of willing to take on board success. See, now you have me intrigued, Sagittarius, very intrigued. I'm dying to get stuck into the cards now to see what it is. So let's continue while all those threads seem to create a tapestry so we can see what it is. The Mercury, he's a big mover this month. He is starting in your 9th house of vacations, holidays, and also wisdom, where you're educated, where you suddenly realize things, the house of the gods, where your mind and your thoughts are expanded. Your happy home, yeah, the 9th house, where you are learning more as we enter the month about so many subjects, it seems, lots of subjects. And then on September 6th, Mercury then moves into Virgo, into your house of public recognition, where you stand out as an authority, your career, and so on. And then by the end of the month, say, well, September 22nd, he's in Libra, in your 11th house of reaching for the stars, baby, of going out there to fulfill your dreams, desires, and wishes. So I feel really, it's a big, powerful month. Big, powerful month where there are, I'm going to say this, where there are losses and gains, successes and what seem to be kind of like failures, where there are high emotions and also where there are, forget the emotions, I'm just thinking of my career. So it's a broad spectrum for you this month, but the whole point of me doing this is try to tune into at least one of them. So help me out here, Sagittarius. Send me the vibes. Which one is more important? Tune in. September 9th, we've the new moon in your 10th house. So all the activity is towards getting some sort of public acclaim, some sort of success in whatever it is that you're doing. If you're dealing with the boss or a public figure, an authority figure, a government official in some way also, even a father figure. There seems to be a new opportunity around September the 9th to make something new happen there, to work towards your wishes really coming true, particularly with your career. Success is on the way. I can't help it, Sagittarius. I feel I'm missing something. I feel that while they're all the threads, that there's something going on, and I don't know if I've hit it yet. Something big, something hidden. And we've the moon and the high priestess there. Are you dealing with a subject this month that's very taboo or very hidden, very mysterious, that a lot of people, particularly you, could get highly emotional over? Let's keep going as cards jump out. Okay, Sagittarius, I have to get 2 cards on the floor and 1 on the table. Hold on. Yeah, there's something jumping, something moving, some big shift coming in. Definitely a shift is happening. I just can't find out yet where. Something hidden rising to the surface. So for those of you looking for a new career, September 9th is really where that could open, where that could happen for you, where you could see great new opportunities to really open up into something new. So that's gorgeous. September the 9th, Venus is going into Scorpio in the 12th house. Is this what we're dealing with here? Love? Matters of the heart, matters of what you desire. See, Venus isn't just all about love, the love goddess. She also desires things. She lusts after things. And she's also to do with money and having that type of financial security. So around September the 9th, there seems to be this high lust because it's going into Scorpio. It's obsession, it's desire, it's intensity, it's heat, it's energy. Going into the 12th house of deep mysteries, of things that are hidden and things that can sometimes become lost. 12th house is where things are dissolved, where they're finally allowed to be surrendered, where we sever ties completely, where we let go, where we say goodbye. Around September the 9th, some of you could be saying goodbye to a love, or saying goodbye to an old way of approaching love in general. Maybe you've seen a pattern. Scorpio is all to do with psychological patterns, understanding their life through going deep and getting to the root of something. And you're getting to the root of the 12th house, uncovering mysteries and deep secrets, perhaps about how you approach love in general, or perhaps about your lover, for those in a relationship. I don't want to sound all ominous there. I don't want to get all into that tarot reader, beware. It's not like that, but it's highly significant. September 9th seems to mark a point where something really changes, or begins to change within your love life. It begins to become deeply transformed. Perhaps you're just finally letting go of maybe a love that has been lingering, somebody that you're not in a relationship with anymore, but yet you can't quite seem to emotionally let go of them. Or you can't stop holding them up on a pedestal in a way that it colors all future relationships. So they in turn become like this fantasy, like this dream of an ideal person, almost in a sense of retrospective looking back and imagining them as something from a Yeats poem or a Keats poem, something very dramatically beautiful, wild and free and the love that you lost and nobody can ever come close type of energy. Maybe that's time. Maybe it's time to let that go. Yeah, there's something there. I'll move on because it could come out in the cards. Let's not waste any more time there. September 11th, Mars going into Aquarius, into your 3rd house. This is where all communication really begins to kick off. You really want to communicate how independent you are now also. That you're fiercely defending your independence and you're communicating that. Maybe some of you want to be more independent in lots of different aspects of your life. And like in your career, you want to work as an independent person. When it comes to your family, you want to make a little bit of separation from them to show that you're independent in some way, but yet, to still stay in touch. Stay in touch, but from a distance, perhaps. But certainly there's a lot of energy going into you asserting vocally, very vocally, asserting your independence from September the 11th. But communication is all go, go, go. Just try to soften some of your more radical ideas because they may be met with a little bit of opposition, but that's okay. It's okay. Now, excuse me. The Sun and Mercury by the 23rd of September are in Libra, in your 11th house. So towards the end of the month, you're beginning to see all the big transformations happening in September, and towards the end of the month, you're beginning to finally again see a fog lift so that you can finally see your future, where it's going. Has that been happening, Sagittarius? Where you were looking towards your future and you almost couldn't see it because it was too foggy. You couldn't see where you were going. You couldn't make plans for the future because you couldn't tap in or tune into a future. But that seems to shift, where towards the end of the month you're back in full gear to bring whatever these wonderful, maybe sometimes unusual plans that you have into full effect so that they can skyrocket you into the future. And you see, this I think is where the problem here for me is, because on one hand you're moving towards the future, but there's almost this kind of schism on the other hand where you're dissolving and letting so many things go and transforming on a very, very deep level. So this thing about moving towards the future at the end of the month seems to require a whole lot of change and a whole lot of deep introspection and a whole lot of deep feeling. We're working, of course, towards the end of the month, September 25th, where there's the Aries full moon in your 5th house of you now standing up, being proud and independent and doing things from a sense of love, kindness, generosity, and doing something from the heart. Standing out, standing up front and being sincere to a razor-sharp point of sincerity. And the sincerity comes from your heart. Perhaps for some of you, when it came to your career, one of the things that was bothering you, that your heart and soul perhaps wasn't in it. And towards the end of the month, you suddenly realize that it's not good enough to work hard. It's not good enough to just have all the right connections. It's not good enough to just have the right salary. That the element that seems to be missing is why you're doing it. And the reason why you're doing it, you'll discover very much so at the end of the month, is because your heart needs expression. And that becomes the foremost priority in everything you're doing now. Everything. And towards the end of the month, again, for those of you looking for love or trying to bring more pleasure and fun back into an existing relationship, it seems to really kick off. The more creative you are, the more pure-hearted and honest and decent you are, which don't for a moment think I'm suggesting that you're never those things. Of course you are. But it's almost like this great big return to all the reasons why you do the things in your life. Wow, Sagittarius, it's all heart and soul and movement, and it's like a hero's journey. It feels like that. It feels like an epic tale this month for you, where there's so many factors. I mean, do try if you can. You're the great recorders of experiences in your life too. You're great with your memory to do that. Perhaps if you want to try something this month, try doing, even if it's only personal, a vlog or a video diary or something of the month, of how you feel or your progress, because it seems to be quite an epic month. So it might be something that you're able to look back on and maybe appreciate after this month ends. Don't know why I'm saying that. Maybe because you do sit in the house of learning from experience. This is your thing. You do learn from experience. So this is a good month of learning then, because it seems there'll be a lot of things to experience. What else? Of course, how could I forget? The start of the month, Saturn goes direct. The end of the month, Pluto goes direct. In your second house of self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, confidence, money, of knowing where your resources are being put, so you suddenly being able to recognize where your resources are being drained, etc. So perhaps the big shift is happening for you because these two heavy hitters are going direct, because your confidence is beginning to come back and you're not taking bullshit from anybody. This is where it all starts heating up again, because we have spoken about this before, Sagittarius, that your confidence has taken a knock over the last while, and now because it's coming back, the heat which I felt, the heat is coming back in you. It's almost like a fever to get back out there. And maybe because you're reignited again, you're lighting up all those threads, all those strands that I felt, like the setting fire to, dynamite. You've got your little lighter out and you're setting all the rockets on fire. Maybe that's why you become a little skyrocket this month. Yeah. But just remember that while rockets are beautiful things, and while we celebrate with them and while we party with them, they're not often very subtle. That's why we like them, because they're big explosions in the sky. Just remember to tame some of these big explosions in your sky, so that you don't, burn yourself out or burn somebody else out. Now, Sagittarius, this is not the norm, but I'm going to have to choose the last three cards, if you don't mind, because we're already way long overdue to read the cards. So yes, I'll choose the last three cards for you. The Queen of Pentacles, bringing the money home. Yeah. The King of Fire, the King of Wands, the King of Magic. Yes. And the last card, a little bit of sadness. Okay, Sagittarius, let's do this. So by now, let's do as we always do. We'll wave our magic wands and bring up the big overview there, my love. So let's begin. Do you know, I'm even getting hot reading these cards. What? It's heat, passion. It's, I feel it. Just don't burn yourself out this month. As I said, it's like there's great fire in everything you're doing, great intensity. Now, where does this intensity journey begin? So we begin with the Two of Wands. You feeling that you have your fire being handed back to you, which was the first wand, and now you're taking more, you're multiplying what was being handed to you by the universe. So you're feeling the fire come back in you this month, and you're generating more. You want more. There's a hunger, there's a need for more things to happen in your life. More love, more money, more success, more career. You see a little bit of something happening in your life and you want more. So that's really incredible energy for you. And he's looking out into the horizon saying, I feel so fired up. Where can I go from here? I have lands to conquer. I have places to go. Maybe some of you are looking out onto your horizon now, changing up everything in your life and saying, I can go anywhere. Where will I go? Taking out the atlas, having the pin, and I can choose anywhere I want to go. I can be anything I want to be. I have the resources now. I have the power. I have the flame back in me. And where did that flame come from? From this deep, 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 deep transformation. When she appears, she means a few things. We'll go with the meaning where she can be the new moon in your 10th house of career. And so for some of you, it could mean that you're now being propelled by some great big changes within your career. But also you could be propelled because you finally feel that you've arrived back to the surface after being to hell and back. When she appears, she gains wisdom from the darkness. She has to go to the deepest, deepest parts where there is both gentleness and kindness and also severity. So she understands all dynamics of human nature. She understands all dynamics within herself. She understands herself and others more because she had to live through some of the shittiest experiences to gain that knowledge. And now you seem to be coming back from that. But you're not coming back empty-handed. You're coming back with the scroll, the Torah, the Wheel of Fortune, Rota, Tarot, all these meanings of a great revolution happening within your whole mind, body and soul. And you're returning with that wisdom, with psychic intuition also this month. Psychic intuition, particularly from the 9th of September, completely understanding how so many things in your life now work. And because you understand them, you're able to move forward. And she's a great teacher, like you, Sagittarius. She's a great teacher of how to bring very deep balance to somebody. So you could be called upon at the start of the month, not just to be a shoulder to cry on, but maybe to unravel some very deep mysteries in another person's life. You could be considered a very, very, very wise counselor to somebody who may have experienced trauma. And it's more than, as I said, just needing to hand them a kind of dry your eye moment, handing them a tissue. But it's now more about, well, let's open this up. What has happened? How can we deal with this? How can we cope with this? Psychological deep work. So this seems to be firing you up somehow. Yeah. But firing you up to do what? Now, we have here, sorry, that was that way. We have here the card of moving on like this. The card of feeling somewhat, when it's upside down, feeling somewhat unable to move in your life. So, you had felt a little bit stuck. I'd say more than a little bit stuck in your life. Perhaps some of you even felt that you've been stuck in a hellish place in your life, or stuck in emotional or psychological trauma that you couldn't break free from. And you desperately want to move forward, you want to move on. And the thing it seems that has been stopping you from opening this whole life situation up has been that you hadn't fully addressed the real hidden things. And because the moon has been in Pisces in the 4th house, I think some of those hidden things involved your family, long-held family issues, long-held, say, behavioral issues that came via the family, via the mother, or via some other female in your life. Some cloudiness, perhaps. Maybe a lot of you found that you were raised in a household that was very confusing, emotionally confusing, And you suddenly realize through the energy of the Pisces full moon at the start of the month that there is a way out, that you have to deal with these things head on. And that seems to give you the pass. See, if we say she's in hell, there's the boat journey out from Hades, out on the river Styx. That's your way out by doing this deep psychological heavy work. And, excuse me, and shadow work, and exploring some hidden feelings in yourself and hidden feelings about how you feel about other people. You see, Sagittarius, you are this wonderful soul who is so generous with other people that you'll go into a room, go into a party, go into a situation, go into a marriage even, and ignore some of the worst parts of a person in order to keep the mood light, in order to keep it optimistic, in order to keep it going. You get on with your thing, I'll get on with my thing, and let's laugh it off. Very, very often you can approach situations in that way. But this seems to be the month, and maybe that's why there were so many tapestry threads being unraveled. You're unraveling some of your feelings towards how you feel about other people now. And is it okay for them to treat you a certain way? Is it okay for them to disregard you in some way, to see you as a forever fool in some way? Because, this is the thing, when people see your wonderful wisdom, you see there's great wisdom in being happy, in smiling and being optimistic, in trying to keep everything light. A lot of people don't understand that that comes from the wisdom of knowing the opposite of that feeling. But yet when they see you being free, carefree, light, optimistic, fun, they might not understand it and judge you, and as maybe even as being superficial of all things, to call a Sagittarius superficial, collective scratch of head, what the hell. But you're going to be dealing with these things now, it seems. In order, for what purpose? Why? Why now? What do I get from doing this work? You get success, which is promised from September the 9th onwards. To start your chariot, to get Mars on September 11th back in the driving seat, moving forward, communicating, getting back in with a network of people that can bring you to where you now want to go into your future. And in some way, networking in a way that you can do it on your own, but with a real sense of being on a mission to do it from your heart, creatively. Creative work, very important. Creative work towards the end of the month and doing it on your own. This is where the success seems to come. This is where the coin seems to come. It's an element of realizing at the start of the month that your success comes from being slow and steady, working out some of the bigger psychological and spiritual things that have now just risen up to the surface. Seeing how a lot of the psychological things are connected to keeping you in a place where the type of money you want to see flow isn't coming. So you're dealing with it slowly and steadily, analyzing it, focusing on it, really giving it time and space. But yet at the end, by the time you finish with that, moving slowly, one step at a time, it seems to all change. Again, Sagittarius, this is just the most insane reading. I feel this heat and feel this passion, but feel that it's a month where it's like there's a great big table, a banquet table of everything you've ever experienced in your life in the past, present and future, and you're indulging and washing it all down with wine. It's big. It's big. And of course Jupiter there. Being in the 12th house, expanding the unknown. Why didn't I think of that? And on the 12th, sextiling Pluto, all to do with your confidence, transforming you and bringing you back your confidence. Maybe that's what it is. Because when the work at the beginning of the month really kicks off and you go with it, look at what you're handed, baby. The right and the left hand come out, handing you the celestial gift of new love, new self-love, new healing, healing through some of the traumas, healing through some of the family issues, through some of the deeper reasons why you're not in a position in your career perhaps that you deserve to be in, or that you're not getting the type of success that you feel you deserve. So once you deal with all of that, out comes this great healing. You've purged something this month. By the end of the month, definitely purged something, and you're healing. And because of that now, you're being handed this ignition, new life, new energy, new love, new passion, new drive to go, to move. Really, really. New love, new life, new relationship, new child. Don't forget the end of the month, we're dealing with the 5th house. New children. For those of you who may not be ready to have children, or it's not featuring in your life, not right now, new creativity, maybe a new pet. The expansion of the heart and soul. Finally getting the key of unlocking why you've been held in this dark room, and finally understanding that the way out of it is through tapping into your heart, to do everything now from the heart, to do everything creatively, and to do everything with real passion and desire. They're the gift, they're the key, they're the way through. That's your gift this month. And certainly Saturn and Pluto are giving you that gift as they move direct this month. Now, towards the end of the month, I did caution you earlier on in the reading. You're highly driven this month to communicate very unusual ideas about being independent, ideas where you are now not sitting quiet, you're speaking up, you're saying your mind. People have been behaving badly to you perhaps, or not very, very badly in some cases, just that you don't like their attitude every time they open their mouth and say something to you, and you're ready to chop them down. But this card represents severity. So what I don't want you to do, as you're lighting all your little rockets, while they're wonderful, booming in the sky, sometimes it takes a subtler hand to move forward. So do recognize that, my love, and it will avoid this situation towards the end of the month where you draw adversity towards you by the things that you might say. So if there are successes and triumphs and new ways through where you're handed the key, don't ruin it by, talking. There's the essence of getting a reward where people are looking at you and celebrating you in some way, and giving you a clap on the back for something, and then saying, thank you very much. And while I have the microphone, while I'm on the podium, can I just say that you're all a bunch of bitches? So take it handy. Don't destroy a good thing by just going a bit too far with what you've got to say, all right? Because one of the things you could lose is you could lose some finances potentially because of the things that you say without thinking this month. So you could lose an opportunity to make money. So you see, that's why it's important. But she is the healing queen. She's there to represent that healing is constantly coming into you for this whole month. She's drawing in. She's kind. She's compassionate. She's very earthy. So keep your 2 feet steadily on the ground as this big transformation is happening. And don't get too carried away with what I said, or should I say, but what you could potentially say. But yet here we have the queen beside the king, earth marrying fire. Earth marrying fire, which can very often go like a wild and uncontrollable blaze, like a wildfire. So you want to be like a rocket in the sky, moving towards this great success that seems to be coming for you. But you don't want it to get so out of control that it becomes like a wildfire that other people have to come in and try to save the day. So that's energy you don't need. Instead, what you do need is to take earth, material things, and to give them fire and passion, which is what you've done to my tarot cards. You took a material thing and gave them heat. So maybe that's what you need to do. Focus on that. That's how you get your power back, to be the king, to be the one in charge, to keep your focus on putting your energy, your effort, your heat, and this seemingly intense psychic focus into the things that you want to materialize in your life. And that's where you win. Now, this is a very unusual card to end the reading with. This is the card of disappointments and sadnesses. The card of feeling that somebody has been very severe with you and that it hurts you and you need time away to have a rethink. And I think the reason for this is that the month is quite electrified. It's quite intense. It's very magnetic. And you do need a bit of a time out towards the end of the month, because I sense with this card that you've purged so many things. And you know, with all this fire energy and earth energy attracting healing and burning it up and rising from the ashes, that you may at the end of it need a little time to lick your wounds, a time to maybe step back a little bit and see where other people have hurt you, but also, my love, in all this generosity, to see where you may have hurt others unintentionally. This sometimes represents that moment of feeling very embarrassed, of being let down by yourself and by your own behavior. And I want to make this clear. By all means, if you recognize something through this month where you feel you may have hurt somebody or gone a bit too far, or something has been exposed that's raw in you, or whatever has happened, if there comes a moment towards the end of the month where you feel a little bit, oh God, was I really that type of person? Did I really do everything in my life, my career, just for the money without any heart and soul? Did I really treat the people in my life just as commodities or resources, things to use rather than people to care about? Don't beat yourself up here, because the answer is you didn't really, Sagittarius. You didn't. You were going through a very difficult period and you did what you had to do to stay afloat. So don't give yourself a hard time. So don't stay stuck in this feeling of, oh, what have I done? What have I done? Who have I hurt? What have I damaged? Be gentle. I mean, if you're in a healing zone here with the High Priestess, the Moon, of course, Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, the healing Queen of Pentacles, it's all healing. It's trying to get you back standing up. So don't waste all that energy by going back and saying, woe is me, you know? I can't say don't feel something. If you feel that at the end of the month, by all means go with that. But don't stay stuck in it, my love, because there's nothing really that you've done that's so completely unforgivable. You know, use this wonderful communication that seems to be pouring through you this month, perhaps to make amends with people, or perhaps to start over in a different way with certain people, that you can have a better, you know, way of communicating with each other where both of you feel empowered, you know. So I'll take that as my cue, Sagittarius. I got cut off there. Yeah, cut her off. Anyway, so Sagittarius, my lovely, powerful magnetic month, and I'm going to wish you the very best with it, and don't give yourself, as I said, too much of a hard time. If this is the first time seeing my videos, then please do subscribe. Join me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, She Bear Tarot. We have a lovely community there and you'll be very, very welcome. And do come back next month. And until then, my gorgeous, I wish you all the love in the world, because you know I love you, and I will leave you with a big kiss. Mwah. Until next month, my gorgeous. Bye.